Today's episode is brought to you by Fretboard Biology, the comprehensive online guitar course put together by Joe Elliott. Now, Joe is not only a fantastic guitar player, he draws on his years of experience as the ex-head of guitar at the Guitar Institute of Technology and also at the McNally Smith Music College. Here's a few words from Joe about the course.
If you're tired of wading through hundreds of random guitar videos and just want to become a better player, Fretboard Biology is your answer. Fretboard Biology is a self-paced, college-level program that'll give you the right instruction, in the right amounts, and in the right order. You'll learn the same information I taught to thousands of other guitar players over 30 years of teaching in top music colleges. If you want to make real progress with your guitar playing, then sign up for a free 7-day trial at fretboardbiology.com.
Hi there, you're listening to the Guitar Speak podcast. My name's Matt Wakeling, and this is the show that I've been producing in Sydney, Australia since the olden days of 2016. We do interviews, occasional gear reviews, and one of my favourite things is when my friends Rob and Gabor join me. Rob Rhodes, welcome to the show.
Hello Matt, it's good to be back.
So good, man. And Gabor.
Ahoy hoy, hello Matt.
Hello ahoy there. We do the iconic series, we started off with album reviews. Actually, do you guys remember, before we did an album review, we tried to do like a live commentary of the JHS pedal musical.
Oh yes, that's right.
Which was, I don't know if that was great podcasting, but it was fun.
I was riveting, for sure.
And then, all the iconic albums, and now the themed shows where we choose some sort of guitar theme, and there's been some cool episodes. We're here for our very special 2024 wrap-up episode. We're going to talk about our favourite music we heard, some of our favourite gear, a whole bunch of things. So let's jump straight in. We're talking about our favourite album or record. It might have been new for 24. It might have been something we discovered this year. Gabor, do you want to kick us off?
Ooh, me? Well, I picked two, as I always do, because why should I only pick one?
Why not
One
have
is
both?
actually an album that came out in 2024. The other one came out in 2023.
Fair enough.
But the other one kind of ties in with something we're going to talk about later on. So, the two albums I picked, I'm just going to quickly throw both of them out there.
All right.
The first one, I think I talked about this band previously, or I definitely have talked about this band previously, but The Smile.
Yes.
And it's Cutouts, their latest album, which came out only just a couple of months ago, I think in October. 4th of October 2024 it came out, so it's pretty new. Another really good, I love these guys. I just think that just some of the most creative dudes out there, just the stuff, it's just always kind of wacky, always out there, always interesting. So that's one of the ones, and that's an actual 2024 album I picked.
So
and the
Gabor,
other one, which will...
Just
Sorry?
jumping in. So The Smile, it's Tom York from Radiohead, and which guitarist?
It's Johnny Greenwood.
Right.
So
nice.
the two main really dudes out of Radiohead, and a guy called Tom Skinner, who's a drummer. He's sort of more known for kind of more jazz, avant-garde stuff. And this was a band that sort of formed during COVID lockdowns. And I think originally Tom and Johnny wanted to do some Radiohead stuff, but then that didn't work somehow during COVID. But they started writing, and then they got this other guy, Tom Skinner, on drums, and they sort of started this band, The Smile, which is it has sort of radio-esque-ness in it, but it's a little bit different too. It's I really like them. I think one of the definitely more creative bands out there at the moment. They do some really quirky stuff, lots of interesting guitar stuff, especially that one song, the one song I sent you guys, Zero Sum, with that really insane arpeggio stuff, which he all does with delays. And I just find it's an interesting band. And the other one I picked, just very quickly as well, which ties in with another topic later on, I really got into Wes Borland, the guitarist out of Limp Bizkit. Now, Limp Bizkit is one of those things for me where, and I don't know if you guys are the same, but I always kind of like the music, but then as soon as I either see or hear Fred Durst, I go, nah. He's just, to me, nah. As soon as you see the red backward cap, I just go, nah. But I always quite like the music, and through something we're going to talk about later on, I kind of got into Wes Borland and never realized he had solo albums. And this is a solo album called Mutiny on a Star Barge. And it's all stuff he records at home by himself on his computer. Sometimes his brother plays drums, but a lot of it is electronic drums, and it's sort of a lot more electronic-y, but there's some cool guitar stuff. This song, the one song I picked out of that called Your Very Own Harpoon, it's got this cool ring modulator thing in it. I don't know if you guys listen to it or not, but so they're the two I kind of picked for new albums. Okay. Either of you guys, have you listened to much of The Smile, or have you ever listened to anything Wes Borland? Matt?
Zero Wes Borland solo, but I loved this track. I loved
It's a cool track.
It was the most in-tune ring modulation I've ever heard. It was
it's great, isn't it?
Such a musical use of it. It was cool. It was so trippy, man. It was so textural, the whole track.
The whole album is like that. It's
cinematic.
Sort of, it's music I love listening to when I drive home from gigs, and you kind of over noise and you just want something calm and serene. It's a great album. Actually, he's got about 4 or 5 solo albums, and they're all kind of like that.
Yeah, right.
Sort of electronic-y, lo-fi, chill kind of music,
I was digging it. I'm definitely going to jump into this record. And The Smile, I did love that track as well. You introduced me to The Smile sometime. I think it was last year. It might have been...
Possibly,
might have been on our new music episode, I think.
Maybe,
Like, cool album since 2020. Dig it. Yeah, Johnny Greenwood, man. He's the man. Like that. It reminds me of like minimalism, 1960s minimalism that he pulls in to the modern day. Because he digs all the 20th century classical stuff. So I love it how he weaves that in.
If either of you guys have ever listened to any of his classical stuff, like he did some film scores with orchestras and stuff. It's amazing too. Yeah. Rob, what about you? No time.
With The Smile, it just reminded... I don't know if either of you have heard of Oz Noy, but it kind of reminded me that Oz Noy did especially the song you picked out, Zero Sum. I was like, okay, Oz Noy just recruited Bono to sing a song. And it kind of had those two elements that, so straight away I was like, oh, okay, cool. But not something I would usually listen to, but it was interesting.
Funny, actually, there's a quote for that particular song that was written by Johnny Greenwood, that song, and it for the arpeggio stuff he uses a lot of delays to kind of make it sound like there's more going on than what's actually going on. But the song was inspired by the footage of the Microsoft executives dancing during the Windows 95 launch event. I don't know, there was that.
I was going to ask, are they are singing Windows 95? That was the lyric, wasn't it?
Yeah. So that's where the song came from, and I just thought, just for that, it's just brilliant. I just there was that footage that went around, all the guys in the khaki pants and the worst dancing ever. Yeah. Oh my God. So that's what the song was inspired by. Yeah. So.
Wow. Now it makes total sense. I mean, and the Wes Borland, I wrote down sounded like a soloist with a looper. So dynamically, it didn't really seem to do much for me.
No, it's very sort of flat. Yeah, it's very one-dimensional.
But as far as Limp Bizkit, I'm the same as you. I didn't like Limp Bizkit at all. And then Woodstock '99 documentary made me like them, like actively dislike them.
Yeah, same.
Whereas before I was a little bit, take them or leave them. But recently, with them re-emerging, I think they might have done the Pink Pop Festival. Yeah. And there was a set on YouTube, maybe Lollapalooza I saw. And he's just dropped all of the Durstness. Like he's just dropped it. And he's got a good sense of humor now. And he's got this 80s vibe with the neon tracksuits. And he just looks like he's comfortable and he's having fun and he's not too serious anymore. And that actually turned me back. And I watched a couple of those the full concerts, and I thought they were great. But as for Wes, and this stuff wasn't for me.
Not your thing, yeah. No,
I ring modulation, awesome. Best I've heard since Prince's Rainbow Children album.
There you go.
High praise from Rob.
That's a lot. That's saying a lot. Yeah, that's saying a lot. No, I just really dig that sort of stuff because it's like I said, it's not challenging. It's just sort of background music that's sort of nice and when you're kind of winding down driving home from a gig, to me that's sort of the kind of music I like. That sort of stuff. I always like listening to sort of wind down music, and to me that Wes Borland album is wind down music.
Yeah, cool.
We've got different ideas of wind down music, man.
Yeah. Mine's the Guitar Speak podcast.
Yeah, it puts me to sleep every time. Not with you guys, just my own episodes.
No, it's when I talk. That's the thing. Yeah, I send people to sleep.
It's those dulcet tones.
Yeah.
All right, Rob, what was your standout record?
Mine was much more local, Australian band from WA, the Southern River Band. Justin Hawkins from The Darkness. He has featured them a couple of times on his podcast, his YouTube channel, actually.
Nice.
And he did feature this song, Stan Quaylen, that I've pulled out from their DIY album. And this album did come out this year. I bought it on vinyl at their show. So we'll talk about that later on too. That ties into that. Yes. It is just riff madness and of the best kind. It's kind of like, it's Status Quo, it's Black Sabbath, it's, it's all of those things. It's rock,
so
it's blues,
70s.
It's metal.
I wrote down, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 O's. So 70s.
Yeah, exactly. And like the vocals don't even come in until like the 2-minute mark.
Well, that's what I wrote
like
down. It's a 6-minute song with a 2-minute intro, a 1-minute solo, and a 3-minute outro.
Exactly. What more do you want? It's got an intro, a middle, and it even has its own reprise. That is so 70s. But the whole
And the speed
album,
up bit.
Yeah.
Love it.
like where do you see? Like, there's no putting that on the grid, is there? That song.
No.
So that's the beauty of this album. I just think there's just so much to it. It's a massive throwback. But the guys pull it off. They've got I don't know. There's just something about them that is. It doesn't feel forced. It feels very natural. Everything they're doing, it seems like they were born to do it. They look like the music sounds. That's the other thing. And the whole album's good. There's not a single filler on there. There's heavier stuff. There's lighter stuff, even sort of verging on sort of a rock country Tom Petty type of thing.
Okay.
But it's a really great album, and it's been a long time coming. They're not probably as big as they should be in this country. They're bigger overseas. But yeah, that was my pick. What did you think, Matt?
Yeah, love this too, man. It's so funny. You guys push my ears in different places, and it's so fun, man. I just thought it was so raw and earthy, and I was just imagining guys just laying into it. So cool. I was hearing like AC/DC Jet kind of rawness.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
I love the two guitars, like the complementary tones. Again, like the Malcolm Angus thing, not aping their tones, but the two tones. Like, it started off a bit sludgy, then the other guitar came in, which was a little bit more pointed, and when they both and it's not 100% on the grid. It's
a big change then when it started.
Yeah. So cool, man. And I loved it. I thought, it's an instrumental, cool. And then it ends, and this rockin' dude starts singing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was listening to it and I thought, this is okay, instrumental, because it's about 2 minutes and then the singing starts. But then it just doesn't go for very long, and then the guitar solo starts. It has a bit of that King Gizzard and a Lizard Wizard kind of vibe to it as well. It reminded me a little bit of that sort of thing. But I dug it. I thought it was really cool. But so 70s. It's just, it could have come out of I didn't look up where they're from. I didn't know they were Australian. And I wasn't sure. I thought, it's probably more recent, but it could have come out of 1976. And it has
absolutely.
all the authentic sounds.
It feels like it's analog recorded.
Definitely.
They were possibly all playing at the same time. Hence,
Feels like
especially
it,
on this track with the tempo changes,
Yeah.
some of the times it feels like they're holding on, like the drummer's trying to keep up with the guitar player or vice versa, you know. And so it feels really authentic. So
alive, man.
Yeah. No, I really dug it. I
Sleeps
really
out.
definitely I liked it a lot. Yeah.
So Southern River Band, check them out.
Very cool. So the album's called DIY.
DIY, yeah.
Nice. All right.
At all good record stores.
Do yourself a favour on vinyl. All right, my record, I chose The Cure. They released their first studio album for a long time, over a decade. The album's called Songs of a Lost World. The sample track I sent you guys was War Song. But yeah, really interesting. Like, I don't think they've been compared to the Southern River Band ever before, but I will. I'll do that tonight. Some of the arrangements similar, like really long introductions, and then suddenly Robert Smith starts singing on a heap of the tracks.
About 2 minutes as well, I think. Actually, it was about the same as the. Other one.
And there's quite a few songs that do that. There's one that's like 3.5 minutes in, and he starts singing. But yeah, I dug it. It's a very lush record. There's some classic dream poppy stuff, and then there's some more intense stuff. So the song I sent you, War Song, for me sounded more intense, a bit more industrial almost.
Yeah, had a 9 Inch Nails-ness to it to me.
Yeah,
a little bit.
right.
That sort of vibes of 9 Inch Nails, yeah. Because the drum sounds, that sort of those kind of almost distorted drum sounds that come in.
Yeah. For sure. So Reeves Gabriel on guitar.
Oh, wow.
He's been with The Cure for quite a few years now. I first heard him in Tin Machine with Bowie, and then later on with Bowie's band.
He was awesome,
Yeah, so I'm suspecting he's doing much of the sonic mayhem there. I'm not actually sure. I'm not like a massive Cure fan. Like, I know all the hits. My big brother had Boys Don't Cry in the 80s, but I'm not sure how much Robert Smith is doing guitar-wise. And the other standout from the string section is Simon Gallup, the bass player. So doing some classic Cure stuff. Sometimes it sounds like he might be playing a bass six. Sometimes it sounds distorted and he's up high.
It sounds like, maybe the baritone or bass. There are some sort of sounds in there where I'm not sure what it is, but some definitely low-tuned, angry-sounding stuff.
Yeah. Any Cure love from you guys?
Yeah, well, I was never really a big fan until I started playing and learning a few songs. And then once again, I feel like I'm flogging a dead horse as far as talking about how Triple M radio destroyed a lot of bands for me.
Hang on, we're 20 minutes in and we've got the first Triple M.
But the Cure was one of those because every hour there was a Cure song.
Friday I'm in Love.
Yeah, and I do that solo and I love playing that song. I've always loved playing that song. But and we do Boys Don't Cry in the 80s show. So but later on I started to listen to a lot, Why Can't I Be You and Love Song and all of those sorts of Cure. So when this started, I went, well, that's darker and heavier than I remember. But then that intro guitar, the first guitar sound that comes in, I'm like, that's an Easter egg. That is such a throwback. And instantly you knew it was The Cure just from that guitar line. But it was quintessentially, if you just strip back the heaviness of that track, it still sounded very Cure to me. So instantly recognizable. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Cool. Gabor?
What Rob said. Yeah, to me, it started off sounding quite different to what I imagined The Cure to sound like. But no, I really dug it. I loved it. Like I said, I loved the heavy guitars. I loved the drum sounds. Generally about The Cure, I was never a humongous fan. I liked the hits. And I had lots of friends that were die-hard, humongous, massive Cure fans. So I was always around hearing it. So maybe that's why I never really sort of picked it up myself and listened to it, because I always heard it through friends that I used to hang out with. But yeah, it's a cool. I mean, that track is cool. I'm gonna listen to the rest of the album if the rest of the album is kind of like that. I like that the vibe. To me, I always like that sort of darker kind of crunchier sounding, distorted drums. I love that sort of stuff. Definitely 9-inch nailsness to it.
Yeah, and like I said, that track, War Song, there's quite a few intense tunes like that, but there's some brighter ones. But it's
More
all pretty
popular
lush. The text is pretty thick texturally with lots going on. So
Yeah,
there we go. Well, that's 4, I think, very different records, but cool guitars, man. Gear, it's time for gear. New gear releases. We've all come up with 2 or 3 kind of things that caught our eye. Gabor, let's jump in on your list.
Okay. New gear releases. So I'm going to start off with the one that ties into the Wes Borland album. So early on, maybe halfway through this year or so, or maybe, I don't know, 3-4 months ago. I don't know. I lose track of time. I did on my YouTube channel. I did a review of a plugin, which was by a company called STL Tones. Which is a Wes Borland signature plugin. So it looked at he uses Dietzel VH4 amps, but then he also uses some quirky old amps like an old Selma amp, and he uses a lot of JC120 kind of sounds. He likes that sort of stuff. He uses quirky amps and some really kind of quirky effects. And anyway, I did a demo of that plugin, and it's a plugin I really enjoyed. And the sounds in there, there's some really quirky ring modulator and quirky delays and quirky chorus and some odd sounds on there, but really usable and musical. And I really liked it. And I sort of through that started kind of looking into Wes Borland because I liked the sounds, and I watched some of the other videos, and they were talking about other bands that he's in other than Limp Bizkit. So I started looking into it, and that's sort of how I got into his solo stuff. But yeah, so that's a plugin that was newly released last year. If anyone wants to check it out, I think you can get it free. You can download it free as a like a demo, and it maybe, I don't know if it does this thing where it does kind of, you know, some plugins that kind of go silent or make a white noise sound every couple of minutes, or if it deletes itself after a few days. But you can try it. There's a free trial. And I really enjoyed it, to the point where actually I ended up also buying a few of the pedals that the pedals on the plugins were modeled on, like old Ibanez pedals and all that sort of stuff, because I really liked the sound. So that's sort of how the two tie in together. But yeah, it's just a really cool plugin. It's not necessarily gear, but it's a plugin that you can use when you record. Gear-wise, I think one of my favorite new items of the year, and there's also a super fun, awesome, happy time pedal show, Pedal of the Year podcast and video, where we give out awards for all the best pedals and plugins and all that sort of stuff that you can watch. I'm sure Matt will put all the links in the description.
Absolutely, my friend.
Shameless plug.
Always.
But the other thing, IK Multimedia released a Tonex 1, which is like a mini pedal, and in mini pedal form, you can put all the Tonex stuff, which is like amp captures. So it's like a Kemper kind of thing, but in a MIDI pedal format, which I don't think anyone, there's nothing else even remotely this small that does proper amp captures or profiles or whatever you want to call it. So that's my 2 new gears. Has any of you guys ever used, I know Rob has because of his thing, but has anyone ever used...
Let's get to that first. Let's
Tonex?
get to that.
Has anyone ever used Tonex?
No, but I know guys who use them. I know some guys who've got 2 of those Tonex ones for a stereo rig.
Yeah.
Some guys use them with their bigger Tonex. I don't know. I'm in Stomp HX land, Line 6 land, and a lot of the talk on those forums is, oh man, get a Tonex with the HX Stomp. It's
just amazing that how little it is and what you can do with it, and it's just for the size and the prices of these things, it's insane.
It's a big year for Tonex, hey? They seem to be everywhere.
They released a lot of stuff, and lots of people start playing them, because it's so affordable.
Yeah. Which leads us to you, Rob.
Yeah.
What's your first thing?
Okay, so I'm going to start with the things I actually bought.
Yes.
So this for anyone, as Gabor would say, with the glasses,
The magic glasses.
Oh yeah.
the magic glasses. This thing is the NUX multi-tester.
Ooh, fancy.
So this is really good if you do a lot of your own pedal board builds, or you need a tuner on your workbench like I do over here, because I've got 20 guitars that need restringing all the time. This is a really great tool because not only is it a desktop tuner, but you can plug every single pedal into it and it'll tell you what the milliamp draw is. So if you're putting a pedal board together and you need to know, will my True Tone, power brick or my whatever DC brick you've got is going to handle all these pedals, well, you can plug them all one by one into this, or you can daisy chain them and it'll tell you how much the draw is.
Oh, cool.
Really cool tool, and these are like $40.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So also very affordable.
Nice.
One thing I found out when I was rebuilding my last board this year was that my UAFX compressor pedal wouldn't go. It would only work if it was on the first power input of my CS10, my True Tone CS10.
Okay.
If you put it in the second one, even though they're both 500 milliamp, if you put it in the second one, it would never start properly. The light would just keep flashing. So anyway, no matter what, this little NUX multi-tester is a great tool to have at home. The second one I bought I only just bought this last week. But it's a product by Toontrack called Easy Mix 3. And for anyone who multi-track records live gigs or has camera audio they need to do, mix quickly, Toontrack have this plugin that is just a super fast mixer with heaps of presets for guitars, drums, keyboards, vocals, and they bundle in how you would have a compressor set and an EQ set and reverb or delay set, but also has presets for masters. So once you've mixed down, just speeds the whole thing up. If you're recording the gig, mixing the gig, then putting it to video, that was just a really cool tool to put together. And I think that was I got the upgrade because I had Easy Mix 1 a long time ago. And the upgrade was like $70 or $80. So that was a good piece. And the one piece of equipment was another one, which is a plug-in, which is the Tone X Satriani pack.
Yeah.
So that got me really excited. Apart from holograms, what's that pedal, Gabor? The hologram pedal that came out, Hologram Effects. But I think it came out at the end of 2023.
The console thing.
The Chroma console.
Chroma console, that's a cool pedal.
That got me excited about new gear. The only thing sort of last year, but this Tone X Satriani pack got me excited to the point where I'm going to talk about the gear purchases that I had this year, but later. But that was almost made me want to trade this other thing in on a Tone X. And get this Satriani pack because it looked great, and I think you reviewed it as well, didn't you, Gabor?
Yeah,
I watched that.
It was very surprising.
Yeah, it's
what
not just
kind
all
of
sat
stuff was
sounds
on there, because there's some really vintage kind of Fender sounds that were great.
Yeah, JC 120s and all kinds of.
The one amp, there's like 30 amps or something on there. It's crazy, and it's all from his personal stash. The one amp I don't like, and I didn't like any of the sounds, is the one he uses now live. Is that Third Power, whatever it's called?
Oh, Third Power, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I didn't like any of that. None of the sounds I liked, but there's I reckon some of the best Marshall sounds from kind of low gain to high gain. Some of the best Marshall sounds I've heard. Some of the best Fender clean and Fender broken up, so pushed old Fender amps. Great sounds that I would not necessarily associate with Satriani.
I know why he didn't like the Third Power one, because that was his amp that he had modelled on Van Halen's 1986 Tone.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
We know how much you love Van Halen.
Yeah.
I'm a huge No, the thing that I found interesting is that when I used to work in music shops, there was a PV-JSX, his signature amp, and no one in the music shop liked it. None of us liked it, and there's no none of the sounds are from that amp on there as well, so I don't think he particularly liked it either.
Yeah.
That wasn't a very good amp, the JSX, I don't think, but that's just me.
No, it was super heavy and bulky, and
It looked
I
cool
think that
with
was
the
his
chrome
attempt
cover.
to try and, it was sort of his attempt at try and make the 5150 more suitable to him. So there was a lot of, I think, similar topology to the 5150.
But it didn't sound anywhere near as good as the 5150, no.
No.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were my gear picks for 2024.
Very
Cool.
How about
cool.
you, Matt?
Very cool. Okay, I got 3 things. One I played, one I almost played, one I have not played. Okay.
That's pretty good. I like it.
So, yep, moving along. Okay, now I'll tell you what they were. Okay, so first one, the JHS Violet. That's the Larry Basilio pedal. It's just come out. I don't know. I think I really love the pedal, but it could be because I really dig Larry Basilio's playing. She's such a dynamic guitarist.
And the demos were great. The release, all the videos they did for around the release were really good too.
Yeah. So
It would have been better if they would have gotten a particular YouTube channel to do some videos too, but I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. But cry
Who
for me,
knows?
people,
Santa
cry for
might
me.
bring you one.
yeah, man. You've got anyway. We've talked about that story.
Yeah.
You used to talk to those people. Anyway, yeah, I suspect she could make a DS1 in a brown paper bag sound really good. Yeah, it sounds cool. I dig it because it does those kind of blues breaker, Morning Glory kind of low gain things, but can get pretty high gain. Sounds real screamy as well, which kind of suits her playing, like that neck pickup thing, single coil thing she does, which sounds amazing. And then when she rocks out and shreds. So yeah, I thought it looked really cool. Looked really good. Okay, next, number 2, I almost played it, the Fender Strat Ultra 2. So this year being the 70th anniversary of the Strat, you know, we've probably all heard Fender have done a whole bunch of things talking up the Strat, and you guys know I love the Strat. I love Strats. I was digging this thing because it's just, I like Strats, but I don't want to play a 57 reissue. My Strat styles are they all look old, but they've all got modern quirks like, you know, bigger frets, flatter fingerboards, access to the high frets.
That 7.25 radius just gets me every time I pick up a guitar with it. I'm like, put it straight down. I'm like, how does anyone play this thing?
Yeah. I mean, people do, and they sound amazing, but I don't know either, man.
Yeah, I can't do it.
So I did like the Strat Ultra. Fender did want to send one. I did want to receive one, but I broke my thumb at the start of November playing cricket. And I was in no shape to play. I'm just starting to play now.
That's not cricket.
Gabor, you reviewed one though, hey?
We had one of the Strats and one of the Tellys. There are, I mean, I'm not a Strat guy, but it definitely was nice. There is quality there. Like there were, you could feel they were built very well. A lot darker to me, the Strat in particular, than a lot of other Strats I've played. To me, that's one of the things I never like about Strats is how bright they are, how sort of thin and bright they are. But there's new pickups that they put in there. They're a lot darker. Looked great. Ours was in a color called Avalanche, which is sort of a greyish white with anodized aluminium anodized pickguard. It looked really, really cool. The Telly was awesome, actually. The Telly was definitely... I preferred the Telly, but I would prefer Telly over Strat in general. But Alex really liked the Strat as well, and they're definitely good, great cases, really well set up out of the box. They were nice guitars. They were definitely nice guitars.
They do a blue burst, like the light sort of blue on the outside to the black in the middle, like kind of like a perimeter burst. I think I saw something like that recently.
I think
Maybe
that's
it's
the
just a
older
new
Ultra.
colour.
That's the first Ultra. The midnight burst or something. Yeah, where it goes from light blue to almost black.
This is just
burst.
around the outside. There's like an iridescent kind of dark blue, and then it's all black in the middle. I saw an ad for it just the other day.
I had a student with one of those. Saved up his pocket money, got one. And it looked cool. Looked cool in person.
There's some great colours. The colours were definitely good choices that they made.
Yeah. Very cool. So happy birthday, Fender Stratocaster. Much love. And the last one I'll put on my list, new releases this year, is the Artist Guitars AT73. I did play this one. I played it before I broke my thumb. And it's so it's basically a telly style, very modern again, as in big frets, flat radius, all the blah blah I just said that I like. So quite a modern instrument, locking tuners and stuff. Physically, it looks like they're copying the 70s Paisley tellies. So there's the pink and the black one. I had the pink one to review. Played it on a couple of gigs. Really, really liked it. So it was great. I think they're about $700. Stainless steel frets. Yeah. Like, man, a lot of guitar for the money, and like good. Like sometimes you see guitars with heaps of features, but the features, they're not good. You know, they're not. They don't quite pull it off. But I think the artist does, and you can get them way cheaper if you don't want them in the Paisley. I think almost the same spec thing you can get just with a plain colour or a relic for like $450 or something. So yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool for players on a budget, people starting out want a decent guitar. I would rate it, the Artist AT73. All right, I reckon we need to take a break. Good times already with our 2024 wrap up. We'll be back in a moment. This episode is brought to you by Fretboard Biology, the comprehensive online guitar course put together by Joe Elliott, ex-head of guitar at the Guitar Institute of Technology and the McNally Smith College of Music. I was one of the beta testers for the course and can say as a music educator, I was really impressed by the logical sequence of learning. The course has also been endorsed by players such as Brett Garsed and Greg Koch. For more details, check out the links in our show notes. All right, welcome back. You're listening to the Guitar Speak podcast. This is the 2024 Iconic Look Back. I'm with my great friends Gabor, Josika, and Rob Rhodes, and we're talking about our favourite records and gear and stuff. Hey, we are up to favourite gigs. Kick us off, Rob. This has got a tie-in to your record.
Yeah, so I did a thing the other day where when we were talking about this, trying to get this happening, that how many shows did I go to this year? And I was, okay, which one was my favourite? And I went through it. I went, everything I went to that I thought I went to this year, I went to the end of last year. So I had to go through my calendar and I went, my God, I went to 2 shows this year.
Right.
2.
How many, to be fair, how many shows did you play this year?
170-ish.
Maybe that's why you only got to 2.
Something like that.
I think it's okay.
Trying to get more bands to do midweek shows, it's just, it sucks. You used to be able to go to in Sydney, we'd go to the Metro on a Wednesday and you could see international acts or Diesel or, whoever. Yeah. There was always a midweek gig somewhere, but these days, post-COVID, no midweek gigs. And this is probably why. So my pick, there was 2. So I went, 2 weeks ago, I went to see Jack White at Fortitude Music Hall.
Nice.
But this is my pick. Jack White was good, don't get me wrong, very good. But this is my pick, which is the Southern River Band. Surprise, surprise. Oh. So they're going to pick up 2 awards tonight.
Oh, wow.
They couldn't be here to accept the award, so I'm going to accept them on their behalf. And sorry, Cal, this is for Cal. So I went down to the Holy Moe, which is about a 2-hour drive from my house, south, and bought tickets. And then 2 days before the show, they announced that it was going to be a free show, so they refunded the tickets. And man, like, so loud. Everything that the album promised, they delivered live.
Yeah.
It was they still put on a show regardless that there was only 30 people there on a Wednesday night.
Oh, really? Okay.
So it's a bit of a bummer that nobody came out, or that it wasn't promoted well enough, or that people just don't know who they are in this country. But yeah, that didn't stop them rocking out, playing the songs properly, having a laugh, on stage. It was really good.
Nice.
And then, I bought the vinyl and I bought a T-shirt because they refunded me the ticket, so I thought I'd put some cash in their pocket.
So why did it end up being a free show?
I didn't sell enough tickets, I guess. So they tried to fill the room by making it a free show.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah, which happens from time to time. I've actually done it myself when clubs have put on ticketed shows for us and then not sold tickets because we played free the week before in the suburb next door.
Yeah, right. Gotcha.
But yeah, everything you want in a rock show, with a band with 2 guitars, the interplay, just a fantastic show, fantastic album, fantastic band. So yeah, that was my pick of my favourite gigs for 2024.
Very cool. Very cool. So yeah, you're saying like the album live, these are the same guys.
Yeah, they're the full package. Absolutely.
How many piece? 5 piece? 4 piece?
5 piece.
5 piece.
Yeah.
So 2 guitars.
Well, no, it's a 4 piece. It's a 4 piece. Drummer, bass, the guitarist sings, and the second guitarist.
Okay.
Yeah. And they sing 3-piece harmonies, so they've got that going on. Got really good interplay and
dueling guitar stuff as well, or
So
Darkness-esque then as well, right?
It does have that. Yeah, it's got all of those wonderful ingredients in the cake. And
but do they buy a one-way ticket to hell and back?
Well,
one-way return ticket.
I always love that it's a one-way ticket to hell and back. But anyway.
Well, yeah, Cal's the lead singer and the lead. Well, like it's a dual lead guitar, really.
Both lead, yeah.
And he's just a rock star personified. He's got wears no shirt on stage.
So is he the guy from the cover of the album?
He's wearing
he's from the album cover, yeah. The dirty mustache, the tight leather pants with tassels on the side and, boots. Just quintessential. Very much like the Darkness as far as that goes. But, and sort of, I don't think he'd mind me saying, because anyone who's seen any of his videos, Instagram or Facebook or any of the socials, he's the bogan Justin Hawkins. Like, he's classic. He did one. There was a guitar lesson video, which is hilarious. So if you get a chance to check out on their socials. He does a guitar lessons with Cal, and it's hilarious. Cool. I'm not going to give anything away. No spoilers.
What are these guys playing?
So forgive me if I don't know all their names, but the rhythm guitar player, he's like a Les Paul Jr. type of guy. So he's got that, crunch and presence. And then Cal's between, it's kind of like a pointy headstock Charvel type thing.
Okay.
And Strats. So he's more sort of in that vein, So he's the super Strat type of vibe, which is hilarious. Like, it's all part of the shtick, I think.
Yeah.
And it works great.
So cool, man. Yeah. Nice. Very good. All right, Gabor.
Well, Rob, you went to 2 concerts. I went to none this year. Not one. Not even one of mine.
Not
even one of yours, no. I did go, actually, which was quite good. A couple of weeks ago, I went to see the Matildas, the Australian women's soccer team, play at Suncorp Stadium, and there were almost 50,000 people there. So, and that was really cool. So that was with my daughter. She loved that. So that was sort of not a and actually someone sang. I don't know who the lady was, but someone sang a song before the game started. So there was. I guess
it's called the national anthem.
No, it wasn't the national anthem. It was some other song. But yeah. So, but what I thought I mentioned, because I every couple of Saturdays, every second Saturday, there's a restaurant in Noosa where I always play called Locale. And right next door to Locale, there's a cafe called the Noosa Social. And very often at the Noosa Social, I play in and I have a break and I go outside. And there's always a band playing outside, sort of on the street. This is on Hastings Street in Noosa. There's a band playing outside on the street, or a solo, duo, band, whatever. And there's a local band of really, really young dudes. I think some of them are still in high school, called Ampersand Band, who are excellent. And I just thought I'd plug them because I always, when they're there, my breaks are always a lot longer than when other people are playing. Because they're sort of a... they do some original stuff too, but a lot of it is covers. But they're a bunch of... it's a really young dude playing piano, a really good bass player. Also, I think he's in high school still. Great, very solid drummer, and then 2 female singers. So there's no guitar, it's just piano, bass, drums, and 2 female singers. And sometimes it's only the piano and the singer, and it's sort of different variations of them. But I think they're all still in the teens, mid-teens to later teens. They play sort of funky, kind of soul kind of music. Really great band. I think on Instagram they go as Ampersand Band. I think check him out. They're young guys who are really good on their instruments, play great music, perform well, and I love watching them. So that's sort of my concerts for 2024. As sad as that is, but that's my concert for 2000. Not that it's sad, because they're great, but yeah, I haven't gone and seen any bands, so sorry.
That's a great shout. Free band in your set breaks.
Yeah.
And the national anthem. So that's 2 shows. Same as
not Australia, some other country then, because it wasn't the Australian national anthem. I mean, that was played too, but the song wasn't that, yeah.
Right. You're a dual citizen, aren't you, Gabor?
Nope.
Dual citizen?
Nope.
Single?
I'm just a single citizen, yes. Just Australian citizen, yeah.
Okay, there you go. All right, my gig was the James Morrison Quartet. So James Morrison, Australian trumpeter, jazz royalty. I mean, he doesn't just play trumpet; he shreds on piano, plays flugelhorn, I think he played trombone, if I remember. Pile of brass instruments, amazing. So his quartet, he's got some young folks in his band. He's got actually his sons, Harry Morrison on double bass, William Morrison on guitar, and young man Patrick Deneo on drums. So when I say young, they're, I don't know, maybe late 20s, early 30s, maybe younger. I'm just guessing. But amazing, cool band. Mostly just playing standards, just beautifully presented. The guitarist William Morrison was fantastic. I think he was playing a D Angelico.
Okay.
I was enjoying the gig so much, I didn't even nerd out on the gear, which...
Shame on you, Matt. Shame on you.
I'm always trying to take a photo of the pedal board afterwards. Not that this guy had one. But I think it was a D'Angelico. And it just sounded beautiful all night. Beautiful comping, because a lot of the time he was the sole harmony. So that was super cool. And his brother Harry on double bass, he was ripping on that thing. Amazing. And as you guys know, I massacred a double bass for a school musical last year. Had to try and learn how to play it. So I was even
Did you
more
play
impressed.
it sideways like a guitar?
I should have. I think you guys have seen the pictures of the little masking tape where the fret markers would be.
yeah.
So Chris Cheney's not going to be calling you anytime soon? Or?
Not yet.
Oh.
But I mean, I
did it
watched
have
a
flames?
YouTube video, so
Did it have flames on it, double bass?
not my one.
No flames there.
Someone wanted to set fire to it afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that was
fingers
Matt.
were burning
I think that was
afterwards.
Matt.
Oh man! As I said to the music therapist, I said, "Oh well, look, I've watched a YouTube video, so I'm pretty much an expert. The only issue is tuning, tone, and volume. Apart from that, I'm doing great." Moving along, let's move along. Personal gear. Now, Rob, you already bought some of your top picks for gear, but what we did last year as well, we mentioned some stuff we might have purchased during the year. Hands up. Who's first?
Oh, yeah, I'll go. Why not?
Go for it, Rob.
So I built a Prince Telecaster tribute guitar
Yes, you did.
Oh, yeah.
and I might have mentioned it before, but it's been on the road now with me for maybe 4 months, something like that. So I bought the body, which is that ash body with the tortoiseshell kind of binding,
Yeah.
and that kind of animal print pick guard.
Yeah.
I slapped a pair of EMGs in there.
Yeah.
Prince
And
style.
then Dwight from DIW Guitars and Blue Rock Pickups, he fashioned me a custom neck, and it's been stellar. It's been beautiful. And I haven't just kept it for the 80s show. I've been using it in the 70s show as well. So that's how good it is. And the EMGs weren't as high output as I thought they would be, and that was a very kind of happy accident.
Okay.
I was really surprised how great those pickups are and not slamming the front end of the amp. Because I did have the Lukather pick guard once before in a Strat.
The
and they were-
HSS. Was actually
yeah, and that was a bit too much. I didn't really like how the top end was in that, but it worked. They work really great in this guitar.
There's a funny video that Premier Guitar just put up when John Bollinger,
Yeah,
and then they
Bollinger,
put the kind of the takeout at the end, you know, when he goes, "Oh, F and this is F and good, man." Lots of bleeping, you know.
Yeah,
That's his first time playing actives, that video.
That was his
hey?
first time playing
Yeah.
actors, yeah. And he was like, "Oh my god, that sounds so good."
and then a game changer. We all go through millions of overdrive pedals and fall in love and fall out of love with them.
Yeah.
But the big change to mine has been the Rodenberg Steve Lukather signature SLOD,
Nice.
which I just added because I just remembered that's been a big
I
part
just
of my
watched
rig.
you write it on the document live. I went, "Oh,
Yeah,
look,
that's
he's
right.
Rob Rhodes is adding something."
No click track here. It's all live.
So it is the latest iteration of Rodenberg's Lukather signature overdrive pedal. And it's a 3-channel thing. So it's got a drive, like an overdrive on one side, distortion in the middle, and a boost is at the end. And each of them have a gain switch or a bass boost. And then you can select whether the overdrive runs into the distortion or they switch between each other.
Perfect. Oh, man.
And each has a tone control. It's just a really very versatile pedal that works really good in my rig. And my third purchase was a backup amp, which I went with the Friedman IRX. So I just sort of carry it around because my pedal board can plug straight into it. It can go direct. I've loaded my own IRs into the pedal, so I've got one different one for the clean channel, another one for the overdrive. So I think I've got Celestian Redbacks, which I bought with the affiliate links that Gabor's super awesome Happy Time Pedal Show offers.
Thank you. A few more.
So that 12
coins.
cents you got from me.
A few more coins fall into my Scrooge McDuck style money vault that I go swimming in. Thank you.
Excellent. And I think the other one I've got a Creamback Dark 57 Creambacks 75s.
Not just saying it because of my affiliate links, but they are really good. The actual Celestian IRs are excellent. They're really good.
I dig them. And they're better than the preloaded ones that Friedman put in. I haven't done the latest firmware update. There's a firmware update that speeds up the channel switching, changes the tone center a little bit, warms it up, and they've got some different IRs. But that's a really great tool because if my amp goes down, I can pretty much just take my loom and plug it straight into that pedal. And it takes all my other pedals exactly the same. Delay goes into the effects loop.
Nice.
And each channel has a separate boost. So I can have a clean and dirty channel and a boost on each.
Oh, cool.
And it's proper tube-driven preamp. So that I did a couple of gigs with it, and I was pretty happy. But now it just lives in my spare case in case anything should, touch wood. Oh no, this isn't wood. Everything's wood here. Guitars, speakers. All right. I feel good now. The Friedman IRX, and they have 3 in the range now. So good tool to just carry in your backpack. And you can I've done gigs with it, and it sounds great.
Nice.
Yeah, they're my personal gear choices for 2024.
Very cool. I've seen some shots of you playing the Prince tribute guitar and wailing on it, man.
Oh, wow.
Very cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I love that guitar.
Nice. All right, Gabor, what'd you get your mitts on?
All right. Three things. Going to start off, and hang on, this is for all the people with the special glasses again.
Here we go.
First
Gabor is
up,
picking up a guitar.
I call it Mooney. This is a guitar that I built for the YouTube channel, or with the YouTube channel. It's a Warmoth Mooncaster body, hence Mooney. So it's a Starcaster shape.
A Starcaster, yeah.
But they call it Mooncaster.
Yeah.
Again with the special glasses, but it looks in real life, it looks so much better than over the screen. This is a turquoise flake finish. It's an amazing sparkle finish with black binding. It has a chambered Hoxie Guitars aluminium neck with a compound radius fretboard and stainless steel frets. So it's a 10 to 16 compound radius inch compound radius fretboard, stainless steel frets, chambered for weight relief, so it's not as heavy because the Starcaster, Mooncaster, it's a center block but hollow guitar basically. And my new favorite pickups in the world, which are the Mad Love pickups, which is an Australian pickup maker, Michael from Mad Love Pickups. And these are Travis Bean style pickups. So they're modeled after Travis Bean, the pickups that used to be in Travis Bean style guitars. I love this guitar. This has become one of my absolute favorite guitars. It was built for the YouTube channel, but I play it as much as I can. But it's a gorgeous looking guitar. It's the first time I built an aluminium guitar that's in standard tuning. All my other aluminium guitars were for low tuning guitar stuff. This is standard tuning, super articulate, beautiful pickups. It looks amazing. It plays amazing. Awesome guitar. I don't know if you guys really saw it, but yeah,
That's cool.
The
man.
headstock reminds me of those Floyd Rose Redmond guitars. You know how they
yeah, it's a bit like that.
had the center missing out of them.
I
They
remember
make
those.
they make proper Fender licensed like the proper Fender shape headstocks, but because this was something that I'm doing not with Fender, but it was with Warmoth and stuff, they didn't want to send me a proper Fender shape headstock. So to do a Strat shape that's solid, so without the center. So this is one of those ones where the it's kind of like the center of the headstock is there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Because it's aluminium, so you don't need it. So it's kind of like just the outline of a headstock sort of thing. But they make ones that are proper. They look just like a Strat, the smaller Strat, the oversized Strat, the 70s oversized Strat. They make a Telecaster and they make a Jazzmaster headstock. And then they also make Chevelle with Floyd Rose locking bridge. So they make proper licensed Fender necks, aluminium necks, which are great and chambered. So all my other guitars, they're solid aluminium necks, which weigh a ton.
I wanted to ask, do you reckon that, has it made much difference?
Oh, huge. The whole guitar weighs less than one of my other guitars, just the aluminium neck.
Okay.
It's a huge, and it's not really neck divey heavy. It's actually really well balanced. But killer neck. And yeah, the pickups are amazing. I really love these pickups. And also solid tunematic. So no vibrato or anything like that. So it's but yeah, awesome guitar. So that was one.
I don't know. I like my guitars like I like my deodorants, aluminium free.
Hey. Boom, boom.
Once you've had aluminium, Rob, you don't go back. There's something about aluminium necks that I love it. I absolutely love it. I think it gives it this sort of almost piano-like kind of articulation. It's so much faster, the attack. It's amazing how it changes. It's even just acoustically how you play. It kind of gives this sort of, it's so immediate. It's almost like going through a transistor amp from a tube amp. It's a sort of a really immediate attack that you get from it.
Yeah, it's interesting because, Matt, you and I have talked about Ariel Posen quite a bit, and he uses those
All aluminium,
aluminium bodies, you know?
Yeah.
So, Yeah, there's definitely a sound there that you can hear.
And I really dig it. I really, really like it. I've become I already have my next parts guitar with aluminium neck in mind, but
Very good.
I do have a problem, but that's.
I will bring this up when we get to the last topic. All right, so
The one where I said
keep that
what
in
Rob
mind.
said, yeah.
The what Rob said topic, yes.
All
So
right.
Gabor, I can't wait for the flames and the debates about, we have the tone wood debates. Does wood matter? It's going to be the tone steel debates.
Tone aluminium, yeah.
I can't wait, man. The internet's going to explode.
Yeah, absolutely. Which type of aluminium has more tone? All right, let's move. So that's Mooney.
Nice.
The other thing, so I bought both of them are amps, and the two amps I kind of always wanted. Well, one is a brand I always wanted, but I bought not necessarily the model I always wanted, but the model I always wanted is too expensive. And the other one is an amp I wanted for a long, long time that's discontinued. And I found one secondhand in Brisbane, which is very rare that you find it up this way. So the first amp is and you got special glasses you can see behind me, is the Engel Retro Tube 100.
Nice.
Which I really don't know why Engel discontinued it, because I think it's one of the best amps ever made. Personally, this is just me talking, but it's an amazing amp. So, little backstory. I know I'll go on about stuff, but it's a podcast. It's all about talking, so I'm going to talk.
Talk away.
So I years ago, when the YouTube channel was smaller, and we didn't work with many companies, I Plug-in Boutique, which is just and again I never work with them, so I'm not sponsored by them in any way. But Plug-in Boutique started offering. So there were a lot of plug-in amplifiers that you could get for the UAD platform, like if you used UAD stuff, but Plug-in Boutique started releasing those same plugins in a native format. So you could use it in Logic, and you could use it in Pro Tools and all other things. You didn't have to have the whole UAD thing, where you use the Apollo interfaces and all that sort of stuff. And I just thought, I wouldn't mind checking them out. So, and I think it was a 3-day or 5-day trial period. You download the plugins and then they delete themselves, but full usage for 3 or 5 days. So downloaded like 5 or 6 of them, made a couple of videos of them. The amp I liked the best out of all of them there's a plug-in version of the Engel Retro Tube 100. That was my favorite one out of all of them. There was like a Friedman amp I did. I think there was a Dietzel amp. There were a couple of amps that I did videos of. And that Retro Tube was my favorite one. So I ended up buying it, the plug-in. And then just around that time, the Engel discontinued that amp, the actual physical amp. And it was also just around at that time when I went to Germany to 42 Gear Street, and I actually met the CEO of Engel and all that sort of stuff. And they were lovely people. Anyway, since then, I've been looking for one secondhand because they don't make them anymore. And so it took, 5-6 years or something like that. One finally came up in Brisbane, not too far away. Because the problem is there could be one in Melbourne and it'll say pickup only. And, I can't drive for 2 days to go and pick up an amp and then drive back for 2 days. So, it's
shipping, how can you just ship up?
And a lot of people don't want to ship stuff. It's just pickup only. So, but I picked it up and it's an amazing amp. Basically, Engel is known for the whole metal chugga amps. The Retro Tube is basically sort of from Plexi style Marshall cleans to kind of 800 style Marshall drives and sort of everything in between. It's 2 channels, a clean and a dirty channel, but then each channel has a sort of a B channel. So you've got a clean, which is sort of the Plexi kind of JTM45 kind of clean. You have a boosted, which is the sort of Plexi kind of on steroids kind of thing. And then you've got the drive channel, which is it has all the vintage Marshall sounds. And it's a killer sounding amp. So that's one of my absolute favorites. And then the other amp, I always wanted to buy a Bogner amp. Always wanted a Bogner amp. The one I really want is the Ecstasy, but Again, very hard to find secondhand in Australia in particular. And when you do, they're ridiculously expensive. And I only swim in a vault, Scrooge McDuck style vault of cents, not dollars. So I don't have a lot of I'm a poor musician. So, but locally here on the Sunshine Coast, a Bogner Shiva came up. EL34. I don't know if there's 6L6 one as well, but this is an EL34 without the reverb, Bogner Shiva. Killer amp. And Bogner is one of those brands, again, with all plugins and stuff I've done, and pedals, the old Ecstasy Red and Ecstasy Blue pedals. They're excellent. I love everything Bogner. That's a sort of a sound I really like. And the Shiva is awesome. That's another killer amp. So have any of you guys ever had much to do with Bogner amps or Engel amps?
Oh, I played a Richie Blackmore Engel in Scandinavia 25 years ago.
Oh, wow, yeah. That's a good amp.
That's it.
There was one going not that long ago on the Sunshine Coast as well for super cheap. And I was umming and eyeing for ages. And then finally I said, I'm going to get it. And then it sold. And I'm spewing.
Everything I hear, though.
Yeah.
I did play one once.
Which one?
It was white. I'm sure it was a Shiva as well. And it was a friend of mine's. And for the life of me, Christian O'Donnell, who plays with Tony Childs and the Lazy Lays on the Gold Coast. I had a chance to play through his. He's since sold it. But yeah, it was one of those moments where it was, oh my God, a Bogner in white Tolex through, the matching cab.
Yeah.
And yeah, it sounds like what you want it to sound like, what you imagine it will sound like.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So that's two amps I always wanted. Or not always. I mean, I always wanted something Bogner. And I still, one day, I'm going to get an Ecstasy. But, I need to... more people need to buy Celestion Plus IRs. Lots more. A few million more people need to buy Celestion Plus IRs and watch the YouTube videos.
Oh, what were your purchases this year, Matt?
Well, not quite as exciting. In fact, I sold 2 guitars with no intention of replacing them. I think I've gone backwards a little bit.
I'm going through that right now, so I feel you.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that a little bit.
Yeah,
in a bit. This is the What Rob Said segment coming up soon. So look, nothing major. I got new frets on the Matacaster. Got stainless frets on the Matacaster. Thanks to my friend Mark Gosbell, who built the Gosbell caster, which is really my main gigging guitar. Love that thing. But a couple things. I got some molded ear monitors. In-ear monitor tips. So I'm wearing them right now, thanks to the very nice people at Pacific Ears. So Australian company. I think they're in Brisbane.
Cool.
There's one on they're on the Gold Coast too. They're kind of everywhere. I've spoken to them, I think.
Yeah. So this is a really good solution. I didn't want to go full molded ear pieces. Financially, getting the molded tips was a good deal. I thought I'll try it out. If it's good, then maybe down the track I'll look at molded ears. But these have been great. So basically using the same in-ears and just using the molded tips. So I went and got the ear molds done and all that stuff. They shove the foam in your ears and pull out the plaster cast or whatever they do. And a couple of weeks later, I had the tips.
I think it's called voodoo. I think it's called voodoo.
It could be. There was some chanting. I couldn't really hear it because my ears were full of stuff.
They could have said anything, really.
They could have. But they've been cool, especially I'm using them now, but for any direct sort of gigs I do. Ampless gigs. I mean, my favourite's always playing through a loud amp, but when you can't do that, good set of ears. It's made a huge difference.
Oh, good.
So just basic stuff like the seal's really tight, so you don't lose all the bottom end. Your guitar tone sounds like you thought it sounded like, all that sort of stuff. It's kind of good. Some other stuff incoming. Friend of the show, Mr. Glenn. Glenn's pickups. Yeah, I finally started talking about buying some stuff. I've been talking to him for years. He's been on the show, and I love Glenn.
He's an awesome guy. Yeah, Glenn is amazing.
Yeah. So I'm super excited. So I'm getting a his pickup called the Tron, which is like a filter Tron.
Oh yeah.
Thing. I'm going to pop that in something bridge position. You've heard of HSS. I'm going for the FSS Filtertron single.
Careful.
Yeah.
Careful.
Could be a little E next to your podcast soon.
yeah, I've avoided the E mostly. So yeah, that'll be cool. And there's a new pickup. I want to get a new Telecaster neck pickup for my Pat Keegan Telemaster. You know, like a lot of Tele pickup configurations, some people find the neck pickup dark. I really did. I love the bridge pickup. And so I was talking to Glenn about some stuff like his Tele pickups, and I was even thinking about getting a like a mini humbucker.
Oh yeah.
Sort of like a Tele Deluxe, but with a little twist. The mini humbucker's usually a little bit brighter than the full humbucker. Anyway, Glenn said, "Hey, I'm working on something new. Ooh. I won't spill the beans yet because he hasn't released it yet. But it's part of the idea is for it to be in the Tele neck. So he's I think in January he's gonna slap something together in a Tele, and we'll have a video chat.
Fancy.
So yeah, could be cool. So stay tuned. But there'll be something in that guitar from Glenn plus a Filtertron-ish, his Tron thing. So that's cool. The other thing is I just got heaps more into my HX Stomp, but I think we'll talk about that in the What Rob Said segment.
I love that it got called that now.
Rob came up, for the people listening, when we do this show, we set up a Google Doc. We all put in ideas and categories and fill them. We populate them with the information we're going to talk about. Then we know what we're going to talk about. It's so handy. Anyway, I hope everyone enjoys that segment because we're really talking it up now. Okay, the penultimate segment, before the What Rob Said segment, is this favorite.
I don't think the distributors and the companies like it that much.
Not really. Anyway, favorite podcasts, YouTube channels, books, etc. What did we read, listen to, check out that we enjoyed this year? What'd you have, Rob?
So I've just rediscovered the Shredding with Shifty. So Chris Shiflett from Foo Fighters.
He's really good at it.
Funny guy, but also just he's underrated because even just the Derek Trucks episode the other day, he was playing slide to demonstrate parts, like trying to work out, tell me what you played here. And he was really quite good.
It'd be quite intimidating to play slide in front of Derek Trucks.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
But what a nice dude.
I wouldn't even want to brush my
Derek
hair
Trucks
in front
as well.
of
What a nice
Derek
dude.
Trucks.
He seems like a genuinely nice dude, actually.
Oh, yeah. Everything I've seen, he's super humble and down to earth, and just he's here for a good time, and I really love that. But yeah, I think early on his podcasts weren't quite as engaging as they are now. He's obviously gotten better, but the last couple of seasons have been really good. So the last couple of episodes, what were other than I've listened to a few recently, but just that most recent one was Derek Trucks, and that was great. And then a couple of audiobooks, because I do the audiobook thing when I'm driving home from gigs, and the Alex Van Halen Brothers book came out, and that was really interesting to hear some of the stories and Alex's take on things, because he's always been sort of the quiet one.
Right.
And there was a lot of things in it that hadn't been the constantly regurgitated stories that we've gotten from the Van Halen camp. So that was really good. I really enjoyed that. And there's two. One I just finished was "Do You Feel Like I Do," which is the Peter Frampton one.
Right.
And you talk like from being discovered at 16 years old by the Rolling Stones bass player Wyman.
Yeah, Bill Wyman.
Yeah, Bill Wyman. To being in Humble Pie, to touring the world, being one of the biggest acts in the world. The story of his Phoenix Les Paul supposedly disappearing in a fire. To him touring, being best mates, and then ended up touring with David Bowie.
Yeah.
And there's just so many stories of he was just a charmed life, like just lucky, but obviously worked hard and was a great player. And the one I'm listening to right now, which it's mind-blowing, but it's the Carole King, and she's reading it. And, you know, when you read a book and like they're telling a story and they, you know, you're just reading the lyrics and you know how the song goes and you kind of sing it in your head. Mm-hmm. But to have Carole King sing You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman when she's talking about writing it, and her story is unbelievable. To have written so many hits in Motown days and then for the Monkees and James Taylor, all of that stuff came before she even had a solo career, before Tapestry. And to think that she wrote all of those massive hits for $6,000 on a 3-year contract is, you know, so the royalties haven't been there and nothing, and still being that talented and being, you know, but that was she wasn't technically in the Brill building. She was sort of Brill building adjacent. Okay. But yeah, that whole scene of record companies and producers having teams of songwriters battling to write a hit song for the star of the day. Yeah. It was absolutely fascinating and eye-opening of what that industry is. But yeah, I think I'm 2/3 or 3/4 of the way through. I'm just at the Tapestry breaking now, her doing her first show at the Troubadour, and she hadn't even really toured yet, just with James Taylor. So, yeah, great story. Check it out.
Yeah.
Very cool. Unreal. I had an audiobook as well on my list. I had Ted Templeman, A Platinum Producer's Life in Music. So Ted Templeman, I knew him most as the producer of Van Halen, and there's a lot of Van Halen talk, which I loved in this book. And then when David Lee Roth leaves the band, and Templeman, who knew Sammy Hagar really well because he was on Warner Brothers as well, I believe. Yeah. So Ted Templeman, you guys probably know, but he had this unique position. He was like an executive at Warner's, but also one of the head producers at different stages, I guess. And went off and produced the David Lee Roth stuff, but he really loved the Van Halens and ended up working with them again in some different ways. But I didn't know he also worked with the Doobie Brothers, produced their stuff, and Aerosmith. So yeah, super, super interesting. Some of the
I've got that book and I've listened to the majority of it, but most of it I listened to while I was going to sleep. I haven't actually sat in the car and listened to it. So I reckon I've heard about half of it, but it hasn't been congruous, so I haven't listened to it all the way through yet. But yeah, that was some of the stories that I heard were amazing.
Yeah, really cool. Interesting working with Steve Vai on Eat 'Em and Smile, which is one of the most outrageous 1980s records from that era. And he was just saying how exacting Steve Vai was, and you had to sort of trick him into accepting, you know, you could do a first take and it would be okay, and you know, that kind of stuff too. So very, very, very cool. The other book, it's a book by David Byrne from Talking Heads, and it's called How Music Works. And I've had this book for quite a few years. It was a gift from a good friend Adrian Elmer, a great musician in his own right, gave me this book, and it's cool, man. It's like, it's partially biographical about his life and his life in music and forming Talking Heads, and then he'll do a chapter about the history of music in some way. So he'll talk about the history of recorded sound. Then he'll come back to the Talking Heads working in the studio for the first time, and it just sort of unfolds that way. So it's a really, really clever way to write a book, and all the Talking Head stories are amazing, really cool.
Oh, I love David Byrne. I actually have that book is next in line on my audiobook list. So that's actually the book I'm going to be talking about, I'm listening to currently, and when that finishes, that book is next in line. So yeah.
You know what my next in line is? Trevor Horn.
Okay.
That's my next in line one. So yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing that.
Full on. So much cool stuff. What do you got, Gabor?
Well, the book I've been listening to, and it's ridiculously long because it's insane how much this guy did in the years 1985 and 1986. But it's Prince and the Parade and Time studio sessions, 1985 and 1986. So it's a book basically that follows Prince on an almost day-by-day basis of what he did in the years 1985 and 1986, from tours and concerts to going into the studio. And I mean, most of the time it was going into the studio while you're on tour and concerts, and 3, 4, 5 hour long sound checks where he would write entire almost albums during the sound check. And I mean, what the guy did is just, I mean, a different planet. So if anyone wants to sort of find out about Prince and how he worked, it's an insane listen. It's really amazing. So I think they went through with a whole bunch of different people, and it literally is, they go, January 1st, 1985, and it'll be Prince has a concert that night at whatever venue, 25,000 seater sold out. And then he'll say, but in the afternoon, he went into this recording studio and he recorded this song. Because it's not like parts of songs. He always just recorded a whole song and pretty much recorded, mixed, done.
Wow.
And just work ethic is insane. Yeah, amazing. If you want to find out about his life, and in those 2 years, which are quite, this is just after Purple Rain. So this is when he went, and how his sort of thoughts, how he was thinking, because basically he's the kind of guy, he didn't want to tour really anymore. He did a lot of touring for Purple Rain, but then decided he didn't want to tour anymore because that's in the past. Move on. Let's do the next thing. Let's do Parade. And he's the kind of guy, you record something, as soon as it's done, release it. I don't really want to tour for it. Touring bores me. I want to record the next thing, move on to Sign on Times. It's amazing. His way of thinking, and lots of interviewing people that were in the bands, people that were record producers, and like his sort of Susan Rogers and Peggy, whatever her name is, Peggy, the other lady, his sort of right-hand people throughout all this time. It's amazing book. Did any of you guys ever read that book or listen to that book?
No, I watched all of the Sunset Sound ones, and that was so much already.
It's amazing.
That sounds.
His work ethic was just. I mean, he never stopped working. Basically, it's just amazing what he did. So that's the book I've been listening to. It's a really, really long book, and I haven't quite got.
Yeah, because there's the podcast series as well for each album, and I think they've done Diamonds and Pearls, they've done Purple Rain, they might have done Sign of the Times as well. So, I had a bit of a listen to those ones.
It's amazing. And all the stuff he did, because, I mean, that's the thing, he did all his own stuff, but then he worked for all these other people under pseudonyms. And he didn't want people to know that he wrote the songs, so he used these weird pseudonyms like Victor and... and there were all these other names he used because he didn't want people to know that, something had to be written in the album, who wrote this and who produced it, because he wrote and produced most of that stuff. But he didn't want people to know that it was him because he just wanted it for the music, not because people listened to it because it was Prince. So amazing story, amazing listening to that book. It's insane what he did. So that's a book if you want to listen to it. And a really cool YouTube channel that's sort of starting to do more and more is the Dweezil Zappa YouTube channel. Nice. He does some really cool stuff and shows his dad's guitars and his new studio that he built. And he's doing a series now of some of it you have to be a member, I think. But he's doing a series on, it sort of starts at the start of 2024 when he sort of goes, I think I should start touring again because he hadn't been touring. Because I think actually Australia was a huge problem for him because he was meant to be playing in Australia and he was maybe even here already, and then COVID hit with the Zappa Play Zappa stuff in 2020. And he lost a huge amount of money. And he was sort of saying what a lot of people don't realize is when this is my show, my gig, I lose the money. I put the money into it. I pay the band. I book these gigs. I do all this stuff, so it all comes out of my pocket. And he sort of does this whole story on okay, it's 2024 now. He's been barely playing guitar for the last 4 years because he's kind of been almost a bit depressed about this whole thing. And there's also a lot of legal issues that he started having with his brother and sister about using the name Zappa. And Zappa plays Zappa. So legal issues about using his own name. Anyway, so it's an interesting story that it's sort of a series that he's going to start doing now. But really cool YouTube channel. He talks about also, he shows video footage of a concert where the band all of a sudden went into some weird direction that he never thought of they would go, and he analyzes what he was playing and why they were playing stuff. So very interesting. And I mean, he's an amazing guitar player. The stuff he does is insane. So very interesting channel to go and check out, the Dweezil Zappa YouTube channel.
Nice.
Yeah, I watched a couple of those episodes. It's amazing.
Yeah, he's insane. It's a different level.
Cool.
Yeah.
And he's fun as well.
He's a funny guy, yeah.
He's got the quirkiness, and he's great. Friend of the show, just
Oh yeah. You interviewed him. That's right.
Shout out.
Time ago. He was probably the first big international superstar-y guy. I think that I got in the show. So yeah, it was surreal. I used to live near where I lived. Sorry, no, I used to live near where I worked.
I should hope so.
I used to live a long way away from
Secret family.
Hi kids, it's me. I'm back. Dad's back. I used to work near where I lived. And I had this interview. It had to be in the middle of the day. And I've got the day job teaching music. So I swing it to be at my lunch break. Drive home at lunch, talk to Dweezil Zappa, drive back, teach my year 8 class after lunch. It's like,
Wow.
who am I? What's going on? He's great, man. I'm going to check that out.
And I mean, Frank Zappa, I'm a humongous Zappa head, and I love what he does. And I briefly met him because I used to work for Carvin, what was back then Carvin would be now Kiesel,
That's
but back
right,
in Carvin, Australia. And
So cool.
the very first Zappa Play Zappa tour that they did, Steve Vai was one of the guest artists, and we supplied Steve Vai with the amps he played for the show. So we briefly met. We met Steve and we briefly met Dweezil because we went to the concert in Brisbane, and such a great. There's a DVD out there. I'm sure it's on YouTube or something like that now of the very first Zappa Play Zappa tour, where they actually had the band, because Frank Zappa used to. I mean, this is a sidetrack, but very quickly. Frank Zappa used to record and film most of his live gigs. He had the mobile recording unit, I think he called it, which was a truck that sort of followed him around. Which I think when there was that big fire.
It was the smoke on the water thing. Yeah, it was written about.
Some of the recording that was done, the Smoke of the Water recording was done with Frank Zappa's mobile recording unit and stuff like that. Anyway, but
it's in the song, yeah.
It's in the song, yeah.
Frank Zappa and the Mothers.
The Mothers, and anyway, but what they actually did was they mapped out one of the live songs to a click track that Frank Zappa did, and the band played the song to the click track with the drummer. So the music was live on stage. But they took the soloed out vocals of Frank Zappa and the footage of him and put it on the screen. And the guitar solo. So he sang and did the guitar solo that he did live on stage with maybe, I don't know, Terry Bozzio and Mike Keneally and whoever was in his band in those days. But they got rid of all that and the band played live on stage with him singing and soloing. It was amazing to watch that. And they did a DVD of that, and I'm sure it's online somewhere now to watch. So if you ever get a chance to watch it, it's just... And the band is one of the best bands you'll ever see in your life. Anyway, I'll shut up now.
Very cool, man. That's awesome. All right, we are up to our final segment for our 2024 look back, and it is the we didn't expect this before we recorded, but it is the much anticipated
what Rob said
segment.
All right. So do you need me to set this up?
Please.
So in our old school lo-fi spreadsheet here, Google Doc.
It's cutting edge, man. It's cutting edge.
It says...
Is that lo-fi?
anything else.
I still
So
can't
that's what
believe it.
says.
I can see you
Anything
typing.
else.
So yeah, sorry. So,
Well, it's not
yes.
as lo-fi as printed and mailed, but you know.
We'll do that
It's,
next year. We'll mail each other stuff.
23.5.
And then we'll auction off those letters for charity.
Then Gabor can buy.
Yeah, so it said anything else. And I guess I had this epiphany probably a couple of months ago now. And I was tired of chopping and changing pedals and, you know, this is fine for one thing, but it's not working for that. Or, you know, and I think it started with the Boss RE202
Space Echo.
Space Echo. Yeah. And the fact that does one thing.
Yeah.
Right? It does one thing. And it does one thing amazingly well.
Yeah.
But it's a digital pedal based on an analog unit, but there's not a lot of digital functionality, like recalling presets, like dotted eighth notes. You have to turn it off and on to get those repeats to do that.
Yeah.
So it is basically a tape echo, right? So that was getting super frustrating. And I put a second delay on so I could do dotted eighths on songs that I needed it for, and et cetera, et cetera. And then I just went, talked about it before. I think maybe when I was on your podcast, Gabor, I talked about if you had one pedal and it was the DD500.
Yeah.
So I sold the Space Echo and I bought two DD500s and I put one on my acoustic board and I put one on my electric board, and I haven't looked back as far as the delay pedal goes. And then I kind of did that with the whole pedal board, recently downsizing it. The Lukather Overdrive made it really easy to kind of have 3 drives in a compact pedal that all gain stack well together. So consolidation was sort of the word that I used.
Yeah.
And so it started with that. And what has that now flowed into consolidation of all my gear. So I'm looking at guitars that I'm not playing, and why am I not playing them? And some of them it's because they needed new electronics. So with my 80s Bill Lawrence Strat, I bought from Soul Drifter. There's an orange box there. 920D custom shop. So I put a new lot of electronics in that, and I played that guitar all this weekend, and it was awesome. And the reason why I wasn't playing that guitar is because the Bill Lawrence pickups in that, which are the original L500 and L250s, the bridge pickup is super bright and aggressive, which is why guys like Nuno and Dimebag love them. Super percussive and aggressive. But it had the vintage wiring, and that pot, I couldn't just put the modern wiring and have the second tone pot on the bridge because that tone pot had frozen. Yeah. So, okay, change that. That's done. All right. And then I worked out, because of space, I was taking, instead of 4 or 5 guitars to every gig, I was taking 2. And what 2 were in the 70s show, I was gravitating to the 335 and the Duesenberg. And in the 80s show, I was gravitating towards the Prince and one of the Floyd Rose guitars, probably the pink EVH. I'm like, well, then all these other ones are just sitting there. And I just started to go, okay, I can get through a gig and do all of these different styles of songs, versatility of playing and styles on, I could do them all on a 335. I could do them all on the Duesenberg. But what can't I do that on? And so I started to look at guitars that are just sitting there as one-trick ponies. Mm-hmm. And like you mentioned earlier, Matt, just selling things and not replacing them, because that's what I used to do. I'd go, oh, if I sell this and sell this, then I can go and buy one of these.
Yeah.
So that's kind of been it. And what I wrote was, you know, just using what works and learning to really love and connect with the gear that I already have. And I think 2025 for me is, already saw in 2024, the only purchases I really made I did build a guitar and buy a couple of little things, but I just invested in some more PA equipment. But I think that next year I'm really going to work at not spending and not buying anything new, and live by the mantra that I have everything I need to do the job. And so, yeah, that's what Rob said.
Hey, it's a good segment. All right. Now, Gabor.
Yeah.
As I'm looking at you on the video.
Yeah, there's a bit of stuff behind me, isn't there?
Pedals, there's amps. So you wrote what Rob said. Now, okay, what's that? What does that look like for you?
Actually, I've already started doing similar sort of stuff. I've sold maybe 4 or 5 guitars this year. Mind you, people send me stuff, so I do get more stuff. So Mooney, that's a new guitar. Actually, I didn't talk about.
That's not your fault, man.
No, that's not my fault. That's people want to send me stuff.
They're sending it to you.
I didn't talk about it because
now, obviously for the YouTube channel.
It's for the YouTube channel. Yeah. Not for me.
Yeah.
Not for me at all. I didn't talk
You're
about
not
it
this one bit.
in the personal gear, but I did. Basically traded in sort of 4 guitars for 1 Les Paul. But I have this sort of love-hate relationship with it, so I didn't talk about it. But at the moment, I'm sort of with it. But anyway, I think they're overrated, but that's just me. But and I've already a lot of these pedals. So January 2025, I'm redoing my whole studio here. I want to declutter it, and I've already a good friend of mine who has a new sort of recording studio here, my friend Phil. I think it's called Easy Tape Studios here on the Sunshine Coast. Phil Ballantyne from a band called Intercooler. Go and check out Intercooler. Great band, actually, great Australian band. He is going to buy a whole bunch of stuff for the studio to have stuff because he said he's never been a pedal guy. He doesn't have a lot of pedals. He has tons of amps and stuff and some really nice gear actually in his studio. Massive console. I think it's an SSL console, massive SSL console.
Nice.
But he wants some pedals too, so he's going to buy a whole bunch of pedals. So yeah, I'm decluttering. I'm getting rid of stuff, and I'm not going to replace it because I want it to be decluttered. And I'm going to change, probably paint as well, and change sort of backdrop. And I want to have 2 spots where I'm doing videos, one for pedals and stuff, and one for software stuff. So 2 different setups, so the background looks different too. So that's all coming. So I'm already decluttering and trying to get rid of stuff and just make do of more what I have. And I guess with being a gear review YouTube channel and people send me stuff, there will always be more stuff coming because people send me stuff.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm trying to do that as well.
Cool.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. It's step 1, isn't it? Step 1 for...
It's a safe space.
I admit I have a problem.
Admit I have a problem. I think, what's the next one? Anger? No, it's
I don't want to get rid of the stuff. Why am I getting rid of the stuff?
But like, Gabor, you're a collector as well, hey?
Yeah.
Like you collect like the DoD stuff.
Yeah.
You've
Well,
got,
that's the wall that you can't see over here on the other side.
Yeah. You got like 700 rats or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, there was a really good new rat. Well, that's the thing. There are always new stuff that comes, but yeah, there was a really good new rat pedal, like a copy of a rat pedal that just arrived. That we just did a demo of, an excellent pedal. I love rat style circuits. Yeah, I do collect stuff too.
Yeah, and that's cool too. That's there's no right or wrong with this, but yeah, it's interesting.
I think my pedal drawer's empty. Hold on.
Whoa.
It's in there. Oh yeah, okay. It's not empty. Let's have a look. I know this isn't as impressive, but here's a broken 535Q wow pedal.
Too.
Nice.
That's
in chrome.
There's this that's not being
Cab
used.
M, excellent.
Cab
2
M.
notes, love 2 notes.
There's EHX Synth 9.
I used to have one of those.
Yeah. Man, it's fun for half an hour.
EP Booster.
Nice.
Molyneux. So I've sort of moved away from the Klon because I'm
Really?
using the Lukather.
Yeah, yeah, right.
And the
Ultimate.
full tone Ultimate Octave. But I reckon, even though I've sold an MS3 recently, I sold my MS3.
Oh, okay.
I sold a Cab M, my second one, and I sold a couple other things, but that's still the most amount of pedals I've ever had sitting in a drawer and not on a pedal board.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I think my kids once, my daughter, my youngest one, was sitting.
She's got more in her drawer than me.
No. She came in here once and counted all the pedals that are out, and I think it was over 200.
Wow, there you go.
In here. And that's not even all of them. There are a few plastic boxes of ones. But yeah, I'm getting rid of stuff. See, I'm getting rid of stuff. Because the thing is, if you look behind me, I mean, people with special glasses, but if you watch any of my videos from my studio, not from when Alex and I do it together, but when I do it at my place, you see the pedals behind me. But what you don't really see is that's about 3 deep. So that's
right.
Yeah. So there's it's not just and that goes up. There's a couple of shelves up above too. But
you never show us that shelf.
It's multiple deep. So it's about 3 or in some cases almost 4 pedals deep.
Yeah. You're hurting that. You're hurting your YouTube algorithm, mate, because it wants to see more pedals.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, the algorithms don't work for me as it is. So maybe I got to try something different. No, I just wanted to be cleaner. I wanted to look cleaner and less cluttered in the background. So, and January, as much as I'm getting anxiety attacks just thinking about it. But I'm going to redo my whole studio, and the main thing I've got anxiety about is my whole rack thing back here and all the looms that run from there to here. I'm going to unplug all that and move all that, and that gives me the biggest anxiety attacks. But
sure,
once I unplug it, I'm gonna have to replug it, and so I may as well move it and replug it.
There you go. There you go.
Wow.
Man, my version of what Rob said, like I said, I sold a couple of guitars. I'll do other stuff with the money, not guitars. Not that I won't get more guitars. I've still got ideas for guitars. Like, I think none of us are freaking out here, but none of us have got the
I'm a little bit freaking out here, but is it?
Yeah, you are actually. My version was getting. I've had the HX Stomp on my pedal board for a few years now. I know you guys have used them to different.
Mine's still on my acoustic board. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Pardon me. And I love it. So this past year, I spent a lot of time diving into that and just trying to pull more out of it. And it's been awesome. I've loved it. I've been diving into stereo rigs. The couple of updates ago, they did the dual cabs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been running like stereo cabs, but with mono amps, and then trying, stereo amps and stereo cabs, all kind of things like that. It's been heaps of fun. I've got a Boss MS3, which I'm using mainly as a MIDI controller for the HX Stomp as well.
Yeah.
So I've got lots of gig ability. I never liked using presets for that pedal. I always like switching things on and off. Sometimes stacked things. Sometimes one pedal would do 3 or 4 things. But that would be like my solo pedal or whatever. But so yeah, I'm digging it. I'm just finding lots of ways to make it functional and access a lot of the functionality of the pedal with the external control as well. So I'm having a great time. So I'm checking out YouTube channels I would never check out, like people nerding out over some of the weird parameters and trying to understand what they do. So So just
bloody
stuff.
YouTube guitar nerds.
There's so many of them. So it's been cool, and the guitar thing, I'm, like you were saying, Rob, I'm always a two guitar guy for a gig. Or as people used to pay out on me, I'd bring 3 guitars but just play one. So just trying to make that work. But things like swapping out pickups, new frets on my oldest guitar. Things like that have been kind of cool. So it's been good.
I'm starting to... Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, so I was going to say just the other thing about, the last few years when I've been gigging, for me every week, which has been busy plus the full-time day job, and having a pretty consistent rig is that if it's working or not, or you can tweak little things between gigs and what difference it's made.
Yeah.
When I was gigging less full on, like you'd swap something out, but you couldn't remember if it was doing something better or not. So I've just spent a lot of time fine tuning, which I know is not very exciting, but it is for me. It's
it is it's a necessity. That's
it's those 1%ers trying to find that 1%.
That's the phrase, Rob. Absolutely,
and the consistency. So I've got to go into 20 different venues. Well, let's not say 20, but every week there might be 15 or 16 different venues, and I want my guitar sound to be the same in every room. And that's difficult, but I reckon I'm so close that all it is a little bit of treble here or a little bit more mid-range there. That's the only thing that's changing. Mm-hmm. And then obviously it's more or less gain. I have less gain in the 70s show and I have more gain in the 80s show.
Gotcha.
But then the 80s also has cleaner guitars than the 70s. So like there's a real there's a real chase on all the time, but find a place where I'm happy and that just every time I play, I want to play. It's not a struggle. It's like I'm one, like not to get all spiritual, but one with me, the guitar and the amp, they're all coming together at the same time. And you're not ever going, oh man, this guitar's not working or that amp's not working or I'm not feeling it tonight. Yeah. And that's the thing I'm kind of freaking about next year because there's 2 or 3 of my favorite guitars need to be refretted. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that's kind of freaking me out because those guitars have been so dependable that now it's, okay, that needs new frets. And they've been sort of the 2 guitars I've had the longest. And I don't go through frets. Like I've got guitars that I've had for 10 years that don't need refretting, but these 2 are getting really low.
I had last year when I went overseas to visit my family over Christmas, and while I went overseas, my acoustic guitar that I always used, that I've been using, I don't know, for over 10 years now. I've done thousands of gigs with that guitar. It needed to be refretted because it's just been my guitar tech guy who does all the sort of Mark Shipton, who does all the work for me up here. For years he's been saying, how do you play this thing? And some of the grooves are so low. So finally had it refretted, and I was so stressing about it, going, oh my God, what happens if I don't like it when it comes back? And genuinely, I haven't even noticed the difference.
Really?
But that shows you that it was good. He did a good job. Because to me, it didn't... Mind you, I was away for 5 weeks, and then I came back and it was done, right? But so over the 5 weeks... But when I came back and since, it doesn't feel like... It doesn't feel any different to me. But I was the whole 5 weeks while I was over there over Christmas, I was stressing, is it going to be good when I come back? Is it going to play the same? Is it going to feel the same? I can't even tell. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, man. But yeah, it's those moments when everything's clicking.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, Rob, when it's all connected and they're the times we go, yeah, this is...
Yeah, and even when the guys in the band say, like, that's the best guitar sound you've had. Like, right now, don't change a thing. Like, it's never sounded better. You've never played better. And to get to, the end of another year of 170 gigs and still looking to improve, not just the tone, but the way you play and improve and work on things. It's like I'm 48 and I'm still getting better every day, and I'm still making the show better and trying to be a better entertainer, and it just never stops because when it does, that means I've stopped caring and it's time to hang it up.
Yeah.
But what you really need to impress the people in your band when you're playing in a band is a Miku stomp.
No, you know what impresses them? When you do dive bombs, tapping, and a kill switch all in the same guitar solo. People are like, what did I just witness?
Kill switch is the coolest thing ever. That's
The next thing, actually, the only thing on my list, and I can see you've got a Schecter fastback, PT fastback behind you, but I'm looking at something with a Fernandez Sustainer or a Sustainiac pickup. And I know Schecter do a few models with them.
There could be some coming to a certain YouTube channel that people may know.
Oh, look, I set you up perfectly. I didn't even know. But yeah, I've just been, especially with the 80s show and the new show Homegrown that we're launching next year. There's a couple of like songs that have synthy sounding things, and it'd be cool to have that as one of the tools on the actual guitar, not on a pedal. Yeah. So that's what I was hoping the Synth 9 would do, and I think it can do that. But I'm thinking about sending that out separately and not running it through the amp if I was going to do that. Right. But a Sustainiac pickup would give me some of those, without the use buying an EBO and worrying about dropping it and all those types of things.
I'm very interested to check one of those out. That's yeah. So there could be some coming, and there's some actually very affordable Schecters with the Sustainiac in it, because the Sustainiac, if you buy it as a pack, the proper one, not the because there's two. There's the proper one where you can do.
There's a
light version. Yeah, there's one where you can do all the harmonics, the different harmonics, and there's one that just does the one. The proper one is quite expensive, and some of these Schecters are not that much more expensive than the pickup, but you get a guitar with it. So I'm very keen to check it out. I almost bought a 90s Fernandez Vertigo. Do you remember the Vertigo?
Oh yeah.
It's a dual offset because it's offset.
Yes. That was the Dave Kirshner
from
Velvet Revolver.
Yes. I almost bought one of those with a Floyd and a Sustainiac in it, but then it sold before I snapped at it. But yeah, so that could become. I'm super keen to try them out because I really like the idea of that. And maybe your people and my people can talk when I've got one of them here for you to try it out if you're up this way.
Well, I know if anyone can get the best out of it, it'll be you.
Well, I don't know about that, but
as far as the quirkiness,
I'll be very enthusiastic about it. At least let's say that.
Yeah, man. That is cool. So yeah, we're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater, but we're
no.
Maybe we're growing up. I don't know. But there's the chase is still on. It doesn't always involve a new toy. Maybe. Who knows?
No, it's the little tweaks. It's the little setups. Yeah. It's something's not right. It just needs a new nut, or like looking at those points that you can improve, for use of a better term, but on the cheap, but they actually improve sustain, playability, tuning, like all of those things, intonation, whatever, that makes it a joy to play guitar. Because I think we've all kind of got lost and caught up in what the joy of guitar is. We've become about the pedals and the new stuff and this amp and this guitar, when the joy actually comes when it's all working together and you're playing and the music is just flowing and the creativity is flowing from you. It has nothing to do with what's between you and the amp and the guitar, So,
yeah, cool.
I think the joy could come through watching a YouTube channel that specific people may or may not do. Too many shameless plugs, sorry.
I think we're up the plug segment.
I think we're up to the plug segment. Gabor, if we didn't know already, what are you talking about?
I don't know. It's one of my split personalities may have a YouTube channel. No, I have this YouTube channel called The Super Fun Awesome Happy Time Pedal Show. Myself and my friend Alex do that, and we do reviews and demos of guitars and amps and pedals and plugins and all that sort of stuff. And check it out if you can. And if you are interested in purchasing a Celestion Plus IR, go to any of our videos and go into the comment section or the description and click on the affiliate link. And there may be some more affiliate links coming in early 2025 as well, maybe, so, especially if you live in America. But let's not get into that.
Okay. Standing tuned. Rob Rhodes, where can people see one of your 170 shows coming up in the next?
Oh, look, the easiest thing is to go to my website, which is roadtripent.com, which I'm sure Matt will put in the show notes.
Yes.
There will be all of my gigs with Living in the 70s, Living in the 80s, and the Homegrown edition kicking off next year in February.
Brilliant.
And you can see me anywhere between, I'd say, Ballina and Noosa next year. So I've only got 10 dates left to book next year. And that's all that's left. And I think once I put some of our cruises in, there'll be less than 5 left. So my whole year is sorted. And I don't know if that means I can relax or not. Probably not.
It's amazing since the whole COVID thing. Venues book so much further in advance now than they ever used to. So next year's almost booked up as well already. So
wow, that's so good.
Except some of the ones I really want to play, which will remain nameless, will not book that far in advance. And then they keep calling me going, have you got any availables for February?
Yeah, right.
Too late,
I
buddy.
sent you months ago and you said, we don't book that far ahead. So, that's kind of a frustrating thing. But we need the stability. And at the moment, I don't think things have quite gotten as bad as they're going to get. So this consolidation thing we talked about is good. And if you can get gigs locked away early.
Yeah, of course,
nothing's certain in this world, but at least it gives you a bit of certainty.
Yeah.
You're not sitting there stressing on a Friday night that there's not a date. But back to gigs quickly before I go.
Sure.
I am going to see my first live gig of the year.
Yes.
At Caloundra at the end of January, Southern Suns reunion tour.
Oh, nice.
So yes, that'll be my first show of 2025. So we'll see in next year's wrap if that is my pick.
Yeah, I think it'll be up
and how
there,
many more we can get to.
Surely. Jack Jones. Pete Drummond is playing those gigs. It's great.
And Reggie Bowman, the original
Reggie.
Yeah, he's in there playing away too.
Yeah.
It's great.
Very good, very good. All right, well, guys, you guys are killing it in your respective fields: the YouTube and the gigging, the gigging and the YouTubing. It's been great doing the shows this year. I'm super keen to do some more.
Yeah.
Next year, let's keep on rocking. And but no, I really appreciate both of you bringing a lot of knowledge, and you're just great mates and great to hang out with for a couple of hours.
Thanks, mate. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and to all the listeners and subscribers, etc. Followers.
Yes.
What Rob said.
Hey,
also thanks to Fretboard Biology, long-time sponsors of the Guitar Speak podcast. Thank you so much to Joe and the team there. It's a great guitar course. Check it out. Links are in the show notes. So many links, people. So that's one of them. And wish all our listeners a great Christmas and New Year season as we roll from 2024 into 2025. And as Michael Schenker says,
keep rocking, keep on rocking.
Keep on rocking, indeed. Catch you next time.
Bye. See ya.
Toodaloo.